Hi there, welcome to part 3 of the drawing exercise 4 screencast. We're going to look at some more tools now for creating objects. This one is a compose decompose tool. So this works with lines and arcs, and sometimes you might find it easier just to draw separate objects like this. And if we want to turn them, if we select them all, it'll say 7 objects in the object info palette, and if we select any one, the object info palette will give us the information about that one. But we can't apply any fill. You can't apply fill to a line, and if you apply fill to an arc, it just fills in that area. And if I chose this arc and I wanted to give it a fill, it fills there. So if we want to get the fill in the interior, we need to create this, or to convert this into one whole object. So here's what you do. You select all the objects, go to Modify, choose Compose. It's now turned into a polyline. I can move it around as a single object. And more importantly, I can give it a fill color. If I ever wanted to get this back to its individual parts, I can decompose it. Oops. Decompose. And I'm back to my objects. If I wanted to get rid of the fill, I could select them all, choose no fill. So again, this is for lines and arcs. Add surface allows you to pretty much do the same thing, but rather than lines and arcs, it allows you to add objects. So here's a great way. If you wanted to remember the kitchen island you made in your first homework assignment, you could have created an arc and a rectangle or a circle and a rectangle, highlight them both, go to Modify, choose Add Surface, and you've created one surface. So again, thinking about objects, how can you take shapes and tack them together and glue them together to create the shape you want? Here's some bead molding. I can select them all, choose Modify, Add Surface, and it just adds, you just get the outside shape. If I want to create a little square and a rectangle, again, Modify, Add Surface. So if you're building a floor plan, for instance, here's a great time to use it. If I have a rectangle and I want to have a little eating nook, draw the rectangle, draw a little area for the eating nook, select them both, Modify, Add Surface. I have one polygon. Sometimes it's easier to do your measurements that way than using the polygon tool. Clip surface is great. Clip surface does the exact opposite. It allows you to clip one object by using the other object shape. So again, think about when you're looking at a shape, can I make it, out of a circle or square and then nibble other shapes away from it to get the shape you want? So let's choose both these objects, go to Modify, Clip Surface this time. Now, whichever object is on top is the clipping tool. So I can move that away, and I've clipped that object. So if I wanted to clip the square out of the circle, I would need to make sure that the circle is on top, right? And I can do that by going up to Modify, Send to Front. So I now have my square on top of my circle. I select them both, Modify, Clip Surface, and now I've clipped my circle. So I now have this shape, and I want to create some cove molding. So I select both of these. I've made sure that this one is on top, Modify, Clip Surface, get that out of there, and I've created a molding profile. Intersect surface creates an object at the intersection of these two objects. So you select them both, choose Modify, Intersect Surface, and notice what's highlighted, this object in the middle. Right? It doesn't remove any of the two original objects. It just creates a third object the intersection of them. So quickly, if I wanted to make a four-corner table, I could use my mirror tool and create my object and then give it a fill. I could also choose a duplicate array. I could choose a circular array, edit, duplicate array, circular array, number of duplicates 3. Angle between them is 360 divided by 4. I'm going to center the next mouse click, rotate duplicates, OK, OK. It's probably faster to use the mirror tool with only 4. If you had more duplicates, if you wanted more segments, then you could do that. If I want to get the border, I could draw a circle and increase the size using the Object Info palette, and then send that to the back. And then the last thing I need to do is just go ahead and use the attribute palette, wherever it is, and give myself some fill colors. And then you can use your eyedropper tool if you want to pick that up and drop it down, and then you can choose other colors for that. So pretty simple workflow, but you've created the shape first, and then you've duplicated it and modified it and given it fill. Combined in a surface allows you to create objects kind of in the negative space left by objects that you create. So you would select all the objects and choose Modify, Combine in a Surface, and then I can move my little paint bucket into the area that I want to create as an object. And I can then move it out. If I want to create this shape, maybe it's easier to create these objects on the boundary of the shape. I would select them, Modify, Combine into Surface, and then I'd move my paint bucket into this area and deselect all of them and then just choose this one. So another way to create objects. It's kind of fun to do.